All right, 1-2-1-2 in the place to be. How y'all doing out there? I am Frank Red, and this is another edition of In the Dungeon Show. I want to thank you for joining me in conversation. We got a lot to talk about. A lot has transpired over the past week. You might have seen me. I've been jumping on some other shows, but obviously this is the first Dungeon show that we've had in about a week. I think I jumped in a post game last week. I don't remember. But it's great to talk to you. It really is. There's so much to talk about. Obviously, we're going to hit up the Golden State Warriors, who have taken a 2-1 lead over the Houston Rockets after maybe playing their best game of the playoffs last night at Chase, a 104-93 victory. The legend, Stephen Curry, led the way with 36 points, and they played without another future Hall of Famer in Jimmy Butler. Prospects are good that he'll probably play tomorrow, but we don't know. We'll see. There were a lot of other players, auxiliary players on the Warriors that made that victory possible. We're going to get into that as well because I think it kind of proves my point about some of the players. So get your thoughts together with regards to that particular game, or you can look forward to tomorrow night when the Warriors take on the Rockets in Game 4 at Chase. The possibility of taking on a 3-1 lead is real. You would have to think that Houston's going to come out there fighting tooth and nail. For a lot of different reasons, you would think that the officials would give them a better whistle in terms of allowing more contact. You know, I don't think anybody's cheating, but I think prospects were the series was going to go 6 or 7 games, and I still wouldn't be surprised if it does. Maybe you feel differently. Right there with the Warriors series, you got to talk about the Lakers and Minnesota. That's a great series. It really is. And I got to tell you that the Ant-Man is doing what I thought that he would do. I mean, when I look at Anthony Edwards, to me, I think he's the best player in the league. He doesn't always play the best, but I think, well, let me rephrase that statement. Among the young players, right? And that kind of includes everybody with the exception of like Steph and LeBron. I think Anthony Edwards is the guy who has the highest ceiling. Now, he has to go out there and prove it. He's only like 22, 23 years old. And he's not Jordan, but he does a lot of Jordan-type stuff, particularly late in the game. And I'm happy that he has an opportunity to display his talent. He had 43 today. And like previous games, he's getting it done at the end. He looks fabulous. But the commentators are the ones that have the microphone. And theoretically, they can drive the narrative. And when they talk about the league's best young players, his name generally is on the periphery, not number one. Now, when I look at Luka and I look at Anthony Edwards, who's a better player? Nothing against Luka. Luka's great. But who is a better player? I think it's Anthony Edwards. Beyond his terrific offensive skills, he's a two-way player. Luka's great. He came out tonight and played a really good game. I think at the end of the day, the conversation needs to be around how fruitful the NBA game is in. You know, they have players at the top end of their career. And LeBron and Stephen and even Giannis is kind of getting there a little bit. KD. But they got some young boys coming up that are really good. And we thought that the Western Conference playoff would be good. I don't know if we could have envisioned it being this good this early. Never in my life did I ever think that I would be riveted by watching the LA Clippers against the Denver Nuggets. Not in my life. But that series has been as good as any. So NBA basketball, for its fans, is providing the level of entertainment that we wished and thought that it might. So we're going to talk about it tonight. We're also going to talk about the NFL draft. Are there any surprises in terms of players? Obviously, the biggest storyline is Shedeur Sanders going undrafted the first 2 days, ultimately being drafted in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. We can talk about it. I think he landed in a good spot for him. I really do. I think it's good that he doesn't have to worry about money. He can focus on being the best football player that he can be. To me, that's important. You hear a lot of different comments, some based off emotion, some are real kind of inside baseball type comments about what transpired. And I love listening to content creators because they make statements, and I include myself in that. We make statements, and then we got to live with those statements. I've heard a lot of people validating Shedeur Sanders' 5th round selection. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did you watch college football this year? So I want to talk about that as well. Because I think personally, I think he throws the best football among all of the players who were drafted this year. Now, ironically, Gabriel Dillon, the guy who was drafted before him by Cleveland, throws a nice ball also. He does throw a nice ball. But he's 5'10", 5'11". He's going to have some serious challenges in the NFL if he ultimately makes it. And I've seen him just get crushed and get injured. So I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't know what his prospects are, but he throws a nice ball. Dillon throws a nice ball. I think Shedeur throws the best football among all of the college players drafted. Do I think racism played a role in this? No, I do not. Absolutely not. Do I think collusion played a role? Yes, I do. Inadvertently or contrived, I think it did play a role, and I'm going to tell you why. Because these coaches talk to each other. That's why. We saw an example of that when the New York Giants were on Hard Knocks last year. And you had the Giants general manager talking to the Philadelphia general manager, and they're boys. They might have gone to the same wedding. So people share information. Is that a crime? No, it's not. Can it be hurtful to players? Yes, it can. Can it be helpful to players? Yes, it can. In this case, I think it hurt Shedeur. And I think that's the conversation. I also think that there were some things that we need to take a look at, i.e. in Pittsburgh. Every time they show the kind of the situation room of football, if you will, for the Steelers, I never saw a picture of Mike Tomlin. Never. And that says to me that organizationally, they might have said, Mike, we want you to sit this one out. We want you to coach the team, let your general manager do his job, or we as owners are going to make these picks. Because it was set up for Pittsburgh to draft Shedeur, and they didn't do it. And kind of puzzling to me. It really is. So if you got any thoughts about that, feel free to share them in the comment section. I'm rooting for the kid. Dallas Cowboys. I don't know why Dallas didn't draft him. I have no idea. The last tape that we had on Shedeur was not good against BYU. One flaw that he has is he holds the ball too damn long. But guess what? That's one of the things that you can actually teach in football. You can correct that with good coaching. We've seen it. Can he read defenses? Yes, he can. Is he accurate? Yes, he is. Is he a good athlete? Yes. He's a good athlete. He's not his father, but he's a good athlete. So I'm excited about this young man. All right. We're going to go through the 49ers draft, and I'll mention some names to you, players that I've obviously seen, but I don't break down tape. That's not what I do. I don't find it interesting at all. I don't. I want to see guys playing against other pros shining. I recognize that there's a strong market. I mean, breaking down tape and ranking college players has been big in the South forever. And in the East Coast, but never on the West Coast. Content creators now, that's why I love the internet. A lot of my friends of mine are making a damn good living providing that content. And I'll listen to it, I'll watch it. But me taking time to figure out who's the 8th best offensive lineman in the Big Ten, no, I'm not doing that. You know, I watch football all day. I watch football on Saturdays. I know the game, I played the game, but I'm not breaking down any tape. Leave that to other folks, all right? So we can talk about names, and we can see how they turn out. All right, we're going to do that. My New York Knicks. Did they get over today? They got a break. There's absolutely no doubt about that. They did. They're up 3-1 on Detroit. Detroit probably would have won the game. You know, they're on the free throw line shooting 3. They probably would have won. But things happen. I look at it like this. I would be willing to bet $10 that Detroit gets a favorable whistle when they go to Madison Square Garden. They're going to get a good whistle next game. So they're going to win the next game, I believe. So you're talking 6 or 7 games. They're still in it. The Knicks are clearly a better team. But I think Detroit's going to win the next game. There's been 2 series that have been unwatchable to me. OKC and Memphis and Milwaukee and Indiana. Milwaukee just gave up 129 points in the playoffs. You can't give up 100. They play 0 defense. You can't win. If I'm Giannis, it's time to go. Seriously, it is time to go. And this is not an emotional decision. Milwaukee needs a reset, and Giannis needs to stop wasting valuable years. You know, how do you feel about that? I'm looking at a team like Detroit, and no, Detroit's not a great market in terms of TV ratings, but it's a wonderful sports market. It's a wonderful basketball market. Giannis probably wants to go somewhere else. But when I look at him being a member of the Detroit Pistons, without them giving up everything, you know, obviously Dorian would have to go. He would go to Milwaukee, but who else? You know, or is there another destination that you think Giannis should take a look at? But he needs to get out of Milwaukee. Time to go. I also checked out a movie. I saw The Accountant 2. I'm going to break that down. And I was concerned that I'm one of the few people, I guess, who has not seen Accountant 1. I didn't see the first one. I'm going to see it. It's on all the time. But The Accountant 2 is really good. Ben Affleck, if he wasn't known for all the other stuff about his personal life, I mean, he's clearly one of the best talents of his era as an actor, director, writer. I mean, he's a brilliant guy. And he did a good job. His running mate, John Bernthal, who's an awesome actor as well, they had great chemistry in the movie. If you like action movies with a story, you know, might want to check that out. All right, let's get it started, man. Let's go out and talk to the great Vicky. I love talking to Vicky. And Vicky and I talk all the time. You know, we share thoughts with each other. Hi, Frank. I hit the like button. Yes, thank you. If you haven't seen the end of the Giants game, watch it. It's funny. What can we say about Steph? He is amazing. Did any of the players the 49ers picked out? Explain that for me. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I didn't see the Giant game. I guess it was a walk-off. They won that game, right? I don't know. Steph is amazing. I mean, that dude is unbelievable. Vicky also says, any thoughts on the joke the kid played on Sanders during the draft? Yeah, Jeff Ulbricht's son. Jeff Ulbricht, former interim head coach of the New York Jets, defensive coordinator, now the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. His son, there's no alleged in it. He's already admitted to it. He literally stole Shedeur Sanders' number out of his father's notes while the defensive coordinator had, I guess they have all the names, and then prank calls Shedeur. Reeks entitlement to me. Reeks entitlement. First of all, your daddy's career is literally holding on by a piece of thread off of a cliff. And you have the audacity to disrupt your father's business in a moment like this where this other very young person, Shedeur Sanders, has his career in the balance, and you're going to call him and prank call him? A simple apology is not enough. I don't get it. I mean, I come from a different world. This is horrible. I can only imagine what my parent would do to me. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did it. I thought it was funny. Really? What part of FUN is that? I thought it was terrible. That's what I thought. One of my favorite friends and combatants in sports, Brian Iglesias. How you doing, guy? My man, Frank Red. What's happening? I know you're doing a lot better right now than Giannis. Yeah, but check this out. No hyperbole. Wouldn't you agree it's time for Giannis to go? It's probably time for Doc to go too. You know, I mean, Doc's future Hall of Famer, brilliant career, but firing the previous coach and bringing Doc Rivers in, it has not worked. It hasn't. They've been better than average. Damian Lillard's been hurt. I get it. But structurally, I don't care if they win or lose. I'm watching basketball. The Indiana Pacers played an extremely high level of basketball versus the Milwaukee Bucks, who played like it's like the third game of the season. I saw zero defensive schemes from Milwaukee. I saw high-level AAU ball. That's what I saw. Come down, swing, shoot a three, make a miss, go back down on the other court. There's no structural defensive scheme. 129 points? That was bad. Vicky says, Ant-Man's becoming a man. Yeah, Vicky. And guess what? Before this playoff is over, he might be the man. He's the best player on the court in that Lakers series. And it's a damn good series. Hashimura finally showed up. Lakers had a chance to win. I mean, who didn't think that Austin Reeves wasn't going to make that shot? I did. They were calm, they were cool, they were collected, and he got a nice shot that you would expect him to make. He missed it. It's tough to come back 3-1. Now, will the Lakers win on Tuesday night in LA? I think they will. Somehow, some way, I think they will win. But if Milwaukee doesn't win, if Minnesota doesn't win this series at this point, that's a problem. That's a big problem because they got everything going for themselves right now. They really do. I also think that Denver winning Game 4 in LA was huge. Can't wrap my arms around it. Huge. That's how big a win that was. Because the Clippers are clearly a better team. But Denver has Jokic. And Aaron Gordon came through big. Aaron Gordon's a really nice young man. Really nice young man. I root for him for a lot of different reasons. But I remember when I met Aaron, and I actually worked Aaron Gordon out at some soldier camps when he was a really, really young kid. And a lot of my friends are really close to him, literally family members, like family. And I remember when he was 12, 13 years old. And his brother, Drew Gordon, All-American, big-time player, played at UCLA, unfortunately passed about 6 or 7 months ago in a car crash. I remember watching Aaron's eyes when people would engage with this big brother, and he would be so happy. He was so proud of his big brother. And to see him honor his brother now wearing number 32, which was Drew Gordon's number, that's beautiful to watch. But to see his ascension as a basketball player, to see him continually get better and have one of the biggest plays of his career, that was great for me to see, because he's a Northern California guy and good family, nice young man. And to see him deal with adversity in a way that he's dealing with it, I think it's something that we can all build on and take from. What a great series. What's up, Keys? My guy. What's up, Frank? The Warriors showed a lot of grit that last game. Steph is so clutch. I can't wait for tomorrow. Intense. Yes. I love it. You know what, Keys? Now's a great time to make my first point about the Warriors. As awesome as Stephen is, right? We're not surprised. We are enthralled. We are thoroughly entertained by his wizardry, by his magic, by his out-of-universe type performances. But guess what? I don't think the Warriors win if Quentin Post doesn't grab 12 rebounds. I was on the show, I think I was on Golden Days early this week. And I'm talking basketball. I'm talking about Post. And, I don't care if my comments are aligned with the people who are on the show. They can be different. I speak to what I see. So in the comment section, somebody was like, Red hates Post. And I started laughing because I don't hate anybody. But when the guy comes out and makes three-pointers, four, people go, oh yeah, he had a really, really great game. I go, are you watching basketball? Your success meter should not depend on whether or not you're making shots. Scoring is one part of the game, a very important part of the game. But what Quentin Post showed yesterday, that he can be a strong contributor towards success, is being physical inside, playing good defense, putting his hands up, and rebounding in his area, which is what he did. He doesn't rebound out of his area. They're not asking him to do that. Rebound the ball in your area. And that's what he did. I was so proud of that young man. I want to see it again. I want 12 more rebounds. That's how you sustain a career. That's how you sustain a career. The other thing about the Warriors that I love, the Warriors got some dudes on the team that you may or may not view that way, but GP2 can play for any coach. That guy is so smart. He's so tough. And he has the type of game that you really can't define. You can't really What is he, a 6'3" power forward, 2 guard center? I mean, he doesn't have a position. He's everything. Those darting cuts to the basket. I'm gonna give you a little secret too. Guess who plays Anthony Edwards the best of any NBA player? GP2 does. He's the only player who's quick and strong enough to really get low and move his feet. And he gives Anthony Edwards problems in short intervals when it really matters. Can he guard him? No. Does he give him problems? Yes, he does. The Golden State Warriors, we're not going to move too fast, but I'm telling you this right now. If the Warriors move on and take care of Houston, and Minnesota can finish the job against the Lakers, do you think the Warriors don't think they can beat Minnesota? Do you think they can't match up against Minnesota? As fixated as a lot of people were, and I'll include myself, on the Warriors acquiring the 6th seed, it's actually worked out better for them because they're on the other side of the bracket, right? Which is awesome. The Clippers have to take on OKC or Denver, not the Warriors. Now they gotta get the job done. I'm not moving too fast, but things are looking pretty darn good. Vicky says you have to be lucky to be good. I would agree with that. The great Mark Graves, how you doing? Beautiful community, good weather, love it. Maybe Shedeur interview cost him, and maybe owners didn't want to give him guaranteed money. Just an observation. No, your observation is dripping with logic. Mark, I totally agree with you, right? But the problem with that, Mark, is you have highly paid professional analysts. You have very successful internet content creators who don't build on that narrative. The narrative that they build on is his talent warrants him being drafted in the 5th round. What? Really? No, that's not the football that I'm watching. So my whole thing is, if you want to use an inference to draw that conclusion that's really based off logic, I have no problem with it. I can follow that all day. But don't tell me this guy did not perform at a high level in college, because he did. Think about what he did. I do enough research to be a little dangerous. When Shedeur Sanders came into high school, he was a 3-star recruit. 3-star. His biggest scholarship was Central Florida with Willie Graves. That's where he was going to go. Then his dad got the job at Jackson State, and he goes to Jackson State. So he was not a 5-star recruit. He goes to Jackson State, resurrects that program. He goes to Colorado, a team that had not either gone to the playoffs or had a winning record like 12 or 13 years. And in 2 years, they're in a major bowl game. Now, you might say it was not a, top 5, but they were in a solid bowl game against BYU, and he didn't play well. But what about the other games in which he did play well? This dude should not have been drafted in the 5th round, to me, based off talent. Are there other variables that might have played a role in that process? Obviously, yes. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But let's tell the full narrative. All right? Let's not rationalize this draft placement based off talent. I saw the kid Hart play. I saw him play at USC as a freshman. I saw him play at Ole Miss. Good player. But he basically throws a long ball. He's not as accurate as Shedeur. He's not. And I have challenges thinking about his safety. I know Shedeur can take a hit. I've already seen that. So it's going to be interesting. Great point, Mark. Mark says, I think Milwaukee and Memphis shake it up next year. They should. They should. And I was happy to see my guy, Mark Jackson. You know, if he's not working, he might as well get some money doing a TV commercial. What's that phone thing? Was it Crane? I don't know what it is. But I'm glad that Mark is actually getting paid off of the catchphrases that he created. You know, because a couple of months ago, I actually heard another broadcaster use his catchphrase that he created. And he can't get hired? I don't like that about the NBA. That is scary stuff. That's scary. When you can blackball somebody. Vicky says OKC is extremely impressive. They're good. But should they be down 25 points to Memphis? I mean, that raises eyebrows to me. And I'm going to tell you something, Vicky. The way that you play against OKC is the way the Warriors play, the way the Clippers play. You just have to get them in the half court. They want to go up and down, but the good teams limit the number of possessions that you have. OKC is going to have some serious challenges in the next round, whomever they play, because they want to get it up and down. I would say they're probably the fourth or fifth best team left in terms of half-court execution. They don't execute that very well in half-court. They share the ball. Their pace is phenomenal, like Indiana Pacers. But when you slow them down, I don't think they're coming out of the West. I don't think they are. I don't. So I'm excited, man. This playoff is just outstanding. Keith says, how you think Kuminga and Post did for us last game? I thought both were solid. I thought they both were solid. Post was more demonstrative because he played more minutes. But I thought in the role that Kuminga had, I thought he was solid. He wasn't bad. He wasn't great. He was solid. The biggest thing that impressed me about Kuminga is his defense. His defense was excellent. It really was. And, you know, we talked about it midweek on the show. And when Jalen Green scores 38 points, you got a good chance of winning. So collectively, I think most people were of the realm that says, listen, if the Warriors get on top of Jalen Green, Houston's not going to win. This was on the premise that Jimmy Butler was going to play. So the fact that he didn't play and the Warriors still won, and Jalen Green had 9 points, Jonathan Kuminga, GP2 were his primary defenders, and they did a phenomenal job. So I give Kuminga all the credit in the world. I want Kuminga gone. I do. I want him to go somewhere and actually get a chance to play. Right? The way that the Warriors have used him is not a process for somebody like him who came into professional basketball far behind in fundamentals. You don't play 15, 16 minutes a game and make a major leap with those types of minutes. You don't. You know, you got to literally take that family camper out and go on some road trips. You know, you got to get some flat tires. You got to go over some mountains. You know, you need to see more campgrounds. And the Warriors are like, nah, you know, we're going to take you to Concord. That's it. So I want to see him gone. And, you know, I mean, the first priority for every NBA player is to establish that you are an NBA player. Not necessarily winning. It's get your money and establish your career. And I think once Jonathan Kuminga does that in the right environment, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a good player. Again, I don't like to hear people kill him. But I thought Post was more demonstrative. Best game of his professional career. I loved how Quentin Post played. Loved it. He was as physical as he can be at this stage of his career, and he aggressively went and got the ball. Vicky says Giannis to the Warriors. How are we going to make that happen, Vicky? Because Giannis would love that. Giannis would love that. But how are we going to make that happen? All right, let me try to be a well-rounded sports talk show for a second. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. It helps the show. Subscribe to the In the Dungeon show. I really like it. It helps the algorithm. I get so caught up in the sports, I don't know how to market anything. But I'm committed to this. I don't know how long it's going to take because I don't do anything. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have a guest on the show until I get to 1,000 subscribers. 1,000, and I'll start having guests on the show. Right now, last time I checked, I had 265. So I got a long way to go. Hit the like button if you like the show. You want to help me out, I appreciate you. And subscribe to the show, all right? It definitely helps. Giannis to the Warriors would be outstanding. Brian says, let's be honest, Denver won that game because the Clippers forgot to box out AG. If they put a body on him, they win. Yes, but guess what, Brian? People get brain farts. Fundamentals count. That's how NC State won the national championship in 1983 with Lorenzo Charles against Fly Slammer Jammer. Derek Whittenburg shoots a 27-foot on a 29-foot shot, and lo and behold, Brooklyn's own Lorenzo Charles swoops in with two hands and puts the ball through the nets, and forever, NC State is lamented in the historical lineage of college basketball. It happens. Aaron Gordon did go to Midi. Smart guy. He has great fundamentals. Give them the credit. I don't want to take the credit away from Denver. That was a great play. That was an awesome play. All right. Haruku. How you doing? Itaki. I love that name. Haruki Hatoki. Okay. Thank you for joining the program. I appreciate you. Hi, Frank. No way Kuminga's on the team next year. I agree with you. He'll be a sign and trade in off season. Yeah, he will. But I think the best they can do is Cam Johnson. I got friends that's like, Cam Johnson. I'm like, yo, man. Cam Johnson is a good NBA player. But at some point, I don't know when, because I think Steph Curry's going to play until he's 40 years old. I think he is. I think he's going to play until he's 40. That's another 3 years. I think he's going to play in the Olympics, and he's going to shut it down then. So the Warriors will still be competitive, and they will still be good. And the way that the Warriors think, I actually think they would prefer a top 5 pick over a player. There's a lot of good players who are in this year's draft that we're obviously going to start talking about over the next 2 to 4 weeks. So if Kuminga is moved, I think most of us believe that he will be, I want to see him bring back a solid NBA player, but like a top 5 pick. I think that's his value. Vicky, my picture's not on right now? I think it's on now, right? I'm good? Can anyone see Frank? Let me know, y'all. Okay, good. All right, so I'm back on. Draymond limited defense. What does that mean, Vicky? Help me out, all right? If Mike Brown would have stayed with the Warriors, I think he would have coached up JK. Yeah, I mean, possibly. Good coach. Mike O, how you doing? It's my first time talking to you, brother. Gary Payton and Buddy came up big last night. Yeah, you know what? I mean, if you were judging Buddy Hield just based off basketball, he would be hard to like. But he's kind of like goofy good. I mean, what I mean by that is that he makes a lot of mistakes that professionals should not make. With that said, he has a particular skill that has allowed him to be employed in the NBA for about 10 years. He can shoot the ball. And apparently his teammates like him, which is also very, very important. But from a fan's perspective, he's tough to watch. Now, I think when Jimmy Butler's on the bench, he's watching the game like a fan. And when Buddy Hield goes into his dribbling package, everybody cringed, including Jimmy Butler. But he made some shots last night. Give him credit. Got to give him credit. He made some shots. Gary Payton was awesome. Keith says, is Luka the worst defensive of all player ever? He is horrible, and playing him 40-plus minutes isn't going to help. Luka's overrated. One-way player will never put in the work like Steph or Bron. And here's the thing, too. LeBron is such a basketball savant, right? That inside, he's steaming. He's steaming. And I'll tell you why. Because regardless of what transpires, everybody believes that LeBron knew that AD was being traded. Everybody believes that LeBron might have had something to do with it. And what if he didn't know? And what if he had nothing to do with it? And AD, yeah, he gets hurt a lot, but he is the one guy who changes the calculus for the Lakers. When AD was playing on the Lakers, the Warriors couldn't beat him because he clogs up the middle. He's an excellent defender. All of those drives to the basket are contested shots, blocks, defensive rebounds. The Lakers now are like going through the turnstile, going through the Golden Gate Bridge. Anybody can go through. The Lakers aesthetically are probably more fun to watch, but defensively, they got a big hole in that lineup at this point. Why? Because AD's not there anymore. So, as outrageous as some of the comments were about Nico Harrison, that's going to be an interesting discussion when we take a step back and look at how things play out over time. I tell you what, the Lakers feel good that they don't have to pay Luka $350 million. Dallas didn't want to pay him $350 million. He's not worth $350 million. Michael says, what do you think about the Lakers being down 3-1? I think that they'll win Game 5. And after that, all bets are off. I mean, could they still win? Yeah. I mean, Minnesota's a young team. But my whole thing is like, this love affair that people have had with J.J. Redick, you know, can we come up for air a little bit? Can we ease back just a little bit? You know, with 3 men and a baller. I forgot the name of the website. I watch it. I mean, JJ's a good basketball mind. He's brilliant. But he's no better than anybody else. There's other good coaches in the league. And I think sometimes it's like, wait a minute. Okay, because Darvin Ham doesn't have great quotes, or he might not be able to design a play as eloquently as JJ Redick can. The guy did a decent job. His players kind of killed him, and management kicked him to the curb to get JJ. JJ's not the reason why they're losing, but he's responsible for winning and losing. You know, he has to take responsibility, and I'm sure he is. But this love affair with JJ Redick is coming down to, guess what? It's tough to win in the NBA. It's hard. And we're seeing that now. Vicky says, trade JK, Buddy, draft picks for Giannis. Why would Milwaukee do that? I mean, you know, I don't see a star in the package that you're sending back. Jonathan Kuminga's a good player. He's not a star. He has star quality, but he's not. I mean, listen, anytime you trade Giannis, you're never going to get equal value back. We know this. This dude is a generational talent, and it's going to be tough for Milwaukee fans because ultimately he's going to knock on management's door and say, I want out. I believe that. He says the Lakers are toast. Dame got hurt again. Yeah, you know, I know Dame a little bit, so I kind of take a step back and I can, you know, look at this and say, well, it's just basketball. I mean, when you get blood clots, right, that's serious business. So I don't know if that had any effect on him on this latest injury, but, you know, I want to know that he's 100%. I don't think they would put him out there if he wasn't. But it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't play again this year. So, and I don't think that Dame's absence had anything to do with them giving up 129 points. It's one thing to lose. People lose games. 129 points, 38 assists to the opposition, that's unacceptable. Mark says, at Vicky, the contract money doesn't work for the trade. Okay. Marco, I was rooting for Detroit. Too bad it looks like they're on their way out. Well, you know I'm a Knicks fan. But I think they're going to get a good whistle. They're not as good. They're not as good as the Knicks. And this narrative that the Knicks are not good enough to win a championship, why not? The Knicks are talented as hell. They just got to go out and do it. They are so talented. I damn near got teary-eyed watching the game this afternoon, watching the Knicks. I mean, and I'm going to say we haven't won a championship since 1973. The Mecca of basketball, New York. We haven't won since 73. Do you know how emotional it is to think that we actually have a team that can win and can compete? Man. Glendocious, what's up? Cam Johnson and Milton for Kuminga. I like Milton, man. I mean, what a tough break. I love Milton. So they can get DeAnthony back healthy and Cam Johnson for Kuminga. You could do a lot worse than that. Good call. Mark Graves, just don't dribble, buddy. That it was Jimmy Butler's comments, right? Or everybody. Michael says JK will be a sign and trade. Yep, he will be. G. Martinez is just happy. What's up? Haruku, what's up? AD is like Charles Jones. Happy to see him gone from exactly. I mean, you know the old adage, you know, you'll miss me when I'm gone. Again, guy gets hurt, but he's a defensive juggernaut who can score 20, 25 points a game. As a Warrior fan, I'm glad he's not on the Lakers. Michael says, will Jimmy play next game? The consensus is he will play. We're going to find out. Vicky says, sign JK to a sign and trade to make it work. I'm with you. That's what the bean counters are for, right, Vicky? Sounds like the Lakers got the bad end of the trade. We're going to see. I mean, here's the thing. Luka is a terrific talent. Little kids love him. Fans love him. It's hard to see how his game translates into winning a lot of championships. Because defense wins championships. Will it be entertaining? Yes. But they got to go get some guys. And I guess they figure, we're LA, we're the Lakers. When LeBron's gone, we're going to get another superstar. Okay, it sounds good. You got a plethora of Hollywood scriptwriters there that could probably make it work on paper. But what about reality? Key says, I believe that the Luka trade is going to set both franchises back. Both would have been better on going farther with sticking with 3 original players. I mean, you know what? You got a good point. You have a good point. But here's the other variable, Keys, money. Dallas didn't want to pay him. And they don't want to put that front and center. Nico, defense wins championship. Yeah, it does. Yeah. And checks got to cash. And they didn't want to pay him. That's my belief. The Knicks won by 1 point. Yeah, they won though, didn't they? Love it. Fans don't like Luke in LA. Really? That surprises me. Because they want the show. Now, they're spoiled because they win a lot. Right? They're spoiled because they win a lot. But they have an expectation of winning championships. They really do. After we climate the Rockets, I think they should try to trade for KD. That would be a perfect fit. Yeah, I think a lot of people are thinking about that. But when you look at Houston, on the other end, what are you giving up? I mean, I think Houston has some draft capital. They've done a good job acquiring picks. Who do they send back? Obviously, one of the Thompson. The Thompson twin would have to go because he would be very attractive. I think Reed Shepherd, Thompson. Extend big fella, not Sengun. I can't think of his Steven Adams. You could probably get it done, because Phoenix wants to work with KD, but you're going to give up. There's going to be some pain. I don't think Phoenix wants Van Vliet. It might have to take him because, money-wise, he might have to be included. But if you got Sengun, KD, Devin, Van Vliet, you got a good team. KD would make Houston better. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Ricky says the last championship in LA was the bubble team. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people discount the bubble. I'm not going to do it because if you discount that championship, you're basically saying, why did it even happen? Why did we even play? So I try to look at every championship and say, you know what? They earned it. They won it. And if you have that perspective about the Lakers and the bubble, you would have to have the same perspective about Tom Brady winning in Tampa Bay. And I don't want to do that either. Sometimes life has events that affects everything. So I give the Lakers credit for winning that championship. They're a very good team. Michael says, Frank, does Jimmy Butler play tomorrow? I think he does. I think he does play tomorrow. SGA says, my dad brought me a Jimmy Butler jersey at the Warriors game. But what did you buy your father? What did you get your dad? I don't have a problem with people buying you stuff. Your mom buy you tickets, your dad. What are you doing for them? Tell me one nice thing you did for your parents. I want to hear that. Good job. Wow. A lot of Warrior talk. Pretty cool. Let me help you fall in love for a second. I'm going to read some names that only a few people know about. The San Francisco 49ers drafted Mikael Williams, defensive end from Georgia. Alfred Collins, defensive tackle from Texas in the second round. Curtis Watkins, wide receiver from Ole Miss. And they drafted Curtis Walk, a quarterback from Indiana. Big arm cat. I've seen him. The one thing about the 49ers that I will say, they had a plan going into this year's draft, and they executed their plan. That's all I can say. Whether or not these guys can play, I don't know. That's the 49ers' job. But they were unemotional about the process, and I respect that. They went into this draft saying to themselves, we got to go and find some defensive players. And that's what they did. So give them credit for that. And hopefully these players will turn out. That's all I can say. Vicky says, Steve Kerr said Jimmy will play today. Okay, very good. One offensive lineman in the 7th round to protect Purdy. Yeah, they drafted a guy to Iowa who looks pretty good. I mean, Iowa is one of those programs that knows how to develop offensive linemen and football players. So, we're going to see. And we're going to see. I'm not all that interested in talking about players who have not played in the NFL. I'm just not. I want to see them on the field because it doesn't take long to figure out if they can play or not. And, this is literally one of the first years in recent memory when the 49ers on paper are clearly not the best team in their division. They're not. That would be the Rams. Arizona's going to be better. It'll be interesting to see what, Seattle does with Sam. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun year because football is fun. We love football. But more than ever now, I think it's important that the 49ers get Brock Purdy's contract done. What grade do I give the 49ers in the draft? Like I said before, I'm not a guy who breaks down tapes. I don't want to spew a bunch of BS on air. I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7 based on execution. Have I seen the Williams kid play at Georgia? Yes, I have. Have I seen Alfred Collins play at Texas? Yes, I have. I mean, they dominated the game. But that's all I can say. I don't know how good they are, but I give the 49ers a solid 7 just based off execution. SGA says, thoughts on Ant-Man? I think Anthony Edwards is the best young player in the game. I do. And that includes Luka. I think he is the best young player in the game of basketball. I am so happy to say that I was wrong. I thought he'd be a good NBA player who scored 20 a game, but I didn't see the on-court leadership skills at Georgia. I mean, they were barely 500. They didn't make the tournament. He played 1 year. But when he played in the World Championships, even though the United States didn't win, he was the best player on our team. And he was a young kid, 20, 21 years old. So I saw the promise early on. And I think he's the best young player in the game. I do. Michael says, were you surprised that Sanders kid dropped this low? Yes, I was. And, we talked about it. A lot of people have a lot of theories. I think it was variables outside of his football talent. And I'm okay with that. If that's your deal, fine. What I'm not okay with is building this narrative that he can't play or he's not very good. He throws the best ball he threw the best football in college this year. Who threw a better pass than him? Who? I'll wait. Accurate. Most of the really good offenses in the NFL are really not long ball throwers. They're precision routes. They're timing routes. They're over the middle. They're run after the catch type throws. Shedeur does that very well. Jayden Daniels did that incredibly well last year as a rookie. The best pick in the draft to me was McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona. I am so happy for Bryce Young. I'm a big Bryce Young guy. And I'm not going to butcher the young man's name. You guys know what I'm talking about. But McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, is going to blow it up in Carolina. To me, he's Mike Williams. He's a carbon copy of Mike Williams, who has had 1,000 yards every year he's ever played professional football, future Hall of Famer of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Carolina did extremely well. Thoughts on Jimmy Butler? The Warriors need him. Great pickup by the Warriors. Great fit. And he sets the tone with Steph. You think Miami wouldn't want to redo? I mean, I've been a Pat Riley fan for a long period of time. But in that war of words, he lost that. I mean, to see Miami just get scraped the way that they are by Cleveland, real ugly. I don't think that would happen if Jimmy Butler was on that team. Michael says, Travis Hunter, he is really going to play offense and defense. Yeah, he is. He won't play the same number of plays, but yeah, he's going to play offense and defense. He's that damn good. Vicky says, no QB in college throws a better, longer ball than Sanders. He throws a great ball, Vicky, doesn't he? Aussie Rules, my guy, how are you? How you doing, man? Safe? Feeling good? Thanks for checking in. I appreciate you. SGA says, hi, Frank. What are your thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons signing wide receiver Nick Nash from San Jose State as an undrafted free agent? I love it. I love to see people win, man. I love to see people win. So, Nick Nash, go out there and make that happen, man. Nick Nash was my roommate in college. That's kind of cool. Go out and support him. Hit the like button, everybody. Subscribe to the show. Follow me on X at Big Frank Red as well. I talked a little bit about The Accountant with Ben Affleck. I go to the movies every week, damn near. I love movies. I love writing. Good movie. So check it out. John Bernthal, that's his name. He's doing a lot of movies. His star power has really started to gain traction, but he's been around a long time. Good looking brother, good actor, but he's becoming a star. I don't think he's quite a star now, but he's becoming a star. And he did a great job in that movie. Michael says, is Purdy going to get paid over $50 million? What contract do you see him getting? I think $50 million is it. I wouldn't pay him more than 50, but I would pay him 50. I'm going to say $15 million a year. He gets between 120 and 150 guaranteed. which is not small potatoes. Good for him. He deserves it. He's played a lot of years as a top 10 quarterback, regardless of when he was drafted, playing for peanuts. So he got to get some of that money back. $50 million a year, though. I mean, that's it. I mean, if he wants more than $50 million, if he wants to be that greedy, and that's what it is to me, because $50 million is a respectable contract. Get your money, bro. Frantic Rage says, great movie. Talking about The Accountant too. Frantic, have you seen Sinners? Talk about a double dose of greatness. If you've seen The Accountant 2, I would assume that you've seen Sinners. And if you have not, you need to get on that too, brother. Really good. SGA says, viewers, make sure to click the like button, smash that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell for the In the Dungeon show so you never know when Frank comes out with another video. Yes! Thank you. Michael says, Frank, did you see the Sinners movie already? Yes, I saw it. Absolutely. What a piece of art. No, Vicky. What platform can I watch that on? Did you get to watch Conclave yet? Is it on Prime? What is it on? Because I have Prime. Let me know. You know what is it on? Aussie Rule says, Frank, it's hot, hot, hot here in my second home of Thailand. Did you think Butler would fit this good before the trade to the Warriors? Absolutely not. No, I did not. And I did not know his level of IQ as it relates to basketball. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was this good. What a great basketball player. And what a great fit. And what an intelligent student of the game, man. Love it. Frank is a great guy. I like to think I'm a good person. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Michael, are the 49ers going to have enough money to pay Purdy and Kittle? They better. They better. Because Kittle, yo, man, the only thing that Kittle has not won, like many of these guys, is win a Super Bowl. That's it. You know, he's on that level. When you think of all-time great tight ends, and the 49ers have had quite a few, he's up there, man. And he had a great year last year. Great year. Former 5th-round draft pick. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Butler. Why not? Yeah, I did. It was even better. Yes. Sinners was better than The Accountant too. I agree with you. Conclave, I believe, is on Peacock. I have Peacock, but you know, Vicky, like I tried to sign into it, and I don't have a lot of time at home. So, like, working around passwords, I actually have Peacock. I'm paying for it. So, I'm going to track Conclave down because, you know, with the unfortunate death of the Pope and how that whole community works, Conclave is even more important for me to watch. So, I'm going to watch it. Thank you for voicing that. Frantic says, Frantic Rage, great channel. Thank you, man. Spread the word. I need to talk about this, John. I know the 49ers addressed the defensive line, but you got to think there is still work to do on the offensive line. The 49ers think that they're like offensive line gurus. Let's be honest. You know, they got a guy in the 3rd round last year from Kansas, and he was fine. I think they feel they can coach guys up. You know, I think they feel they can. And I kind of buy into that because of the quick release. They have a great running back in McCaffrey. What they can't do is coach defensive linemen up who don't have the talent. And that was evident last year. So by them going heavy on defense, it says that they needed to inject their defensive line with talent. Now, can these guys play? We don't know. We're going to find out. Um, Before I break out, I'm gonna spend a couple of minutes on a topic that, like, I normally don't talk about stuff that's like racy. Everybody's talking about it. I generally don't talk about like gossip and stuff like that. But if there's an intersection with sports, which this topic is, I think you know what I'm gonna talk about. It's the Shannon Sharpe implosion. Could have seen this from a mile away. All right, I'm going to say this: whether or not he did anything illegal, we don't know. I'm certainly not going to share an opinion about that because it's right or wrong. All right, what he's being accused of is really horrible. What I'm going to say is, how could you screw this up? I mean, and I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that, like, listen, I actually worked on commercial radio for 13 years. And I was the highest rated sports talk show host during my time slot for over 10 years. I was. But know what was more important to me? Was the exemplary reputation that I had while I worked at KHTK. You can ask anybody and they will tell you Frank Red was nothing but professional. I was nothing but a great teammate, treated people with respect. And I knew the waters that I didn't need to get into because they were there as well. Any environment, you got to be able to make good decisions. This was a bad look from the start. And I'm sure he's gripping right now, but this is something that you can't do. You can't make those types of mistakes. People try to get on Stephen A. Stephen A. is so meticulous about his career. It's why he's been successful. He's not making these type of mistakes. With that said, it's not a lot of difference between kind of what Shannon Sharpe, the relationship that he had, versus Bill Belichick. What's different? No difference there. The only difference is some of the allegations with Shannon is not associated with Bill Belichick. I think Shannon could have come out of this. I don't think that he can come out of this unscathed. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the alleged audio that was leaked, right? If you have any implication around alleged violence, I'm going to choke you. You cooked. You can't do that. You cooked. Even if it's just words, even if it was like their way of like talking to each other, we don't know. I don't know. I'm not accusing them of anything. But that bit of audio was trembling. It was triggering to a lot of people. And I don't know how you get around that. I don't. I would love to be surprised and have all parties kind of get to a point where they can move forward. But this is Mount Everest times 10. That's what this is. And from my perspective, from somebody who looks like me or looks like Shannon, these opportunities don't come around very often. So to put yourself in a situation where you would jeopardize generational type opportunities, it's kind of loony to me. I don't get paid a dime to do this show. And yet, I am so cognizant of being as gracious as I can be to anybody who would dare to spend their personal time to listen to me for an hour and 15 minutes. I don't, that's who I am as a person. So I'm aware. I am very aware. I don't have to act. This is who I am as a person. And I thank you for joining me in conversation. I really appreciate it. I'm not blaming Shannon. I'm not blaming her. It's not the type of stuff I even like to talk about. But there was an intersection in sports. And if nothing else, there are multiple lessons that could be learned. They are. I don't think I need to learn this lesson because I already know it. But there are lessons to be learned from this. All right. This has been an awesome opportunity for me to spend time with you. Hopefully you enjoyed the program. A lot of new listeners tonight who maybe have been listening but have not been sharing their thoughts. Thank you. I really appreciate you. All right. Hit that like button once again. Subscribe to the program. It definitely helps the show. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get out of here. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. All right. Good night, everybody. I am Frank Red. Maybe I'll be on tomorrow night. The Warriors play. Ghosts.